1, 2, 3, 4, let's go.
It's Heartbeat.
It's a fabulous show.
Alaska.
Hi, Heartbeat Alaska.
It's Heartbeat. Alaska.
Pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeannie's show. It's the Aleut, the Indian and the Eskimo. It's the Aleut, the Indian and the Eskimo.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we travel to Iliamna, Alaska, one of the most beautiful areas of Alaska. Alaska is splendiferous, it's fabulous, it's huge and grand, but Iliamna is very, very special. In this wonderful little village live people that are hardy and tough. They face issues like we all do in Alaska, but in rural Alaska the issues seem to be magnified because of the remote villages. The people in Iliamna are up to the task. In fact, their motto should be, "Don't you quit."
Rest if you must, but don't you quit. Don't quit. Yo.
Hello, I'd like to say hi to the folks in Mountain Village, Russian Mission, all my relatives in Russian Mission, Pitkas Point, and Pilot Station, St. Mary's, and Imana.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by the Norton Sound Economic Development Corporation. Thank you, NSEDC, for your support of Heartbeat Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska is pleased to announce a brand new official hotel. We're brought to you now by Millennium Alaskan Hotel, the official hotel of Heartbeat Alaska. And
Heartbeat Alaska is also brought to you by Frontier Flying Service. Thank you, Frontier, for getting Heartbeat Alaska airborne.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Brown's Electric Lighting Gallery. Thank you, Brown's Electric, for your generous support of Heartbeat Alaska. Heartbeat Alaska is made possible by Kupik Carlisle Transportation, your full-service transportation and logistics company.
welcome back. We travel today to Iliamna, Alaska. When I think of Iliamna, I think of sports fishing, I think of lots and lots of fish, and that's how it used to be. The shores along Lake Iliamna were red with spawning salmon, but times have changed. Times have changed in the way of Mother Nature as well. When you think of coyotes, I usually think of outside the lower 48, but not so.
Last night, about 3 o'clock, I seen a coyote outside my house here, and I've never seen coyotes here. So and I've heard a lot of stories about coyotes, how they'll go after animals and kill them when they pack up, and more so than wolves, they'll just kill just to kill.
A traditional Athabascan village in the interior of Alaska. Iliamna sits on the shore of Lake Iliamna, which is over 75 miles long and boasts of excellent fishing and sights to please the eyes and ease the mind. Iliamna officially became a village in 1923 and has been fully recognized as a tribe since 1972. The lands surrounding the town are rife with wildlife and vegetation that the natives of the area have traditionally relied upon to support their way of life. Because Iliamna is a predominantly native village, the subsistence lifestyle is still very much alive today. For centuries, the people of Iliamna have coexisted with nature, taking from it what they needed to live, wasting nothing. When other cultures moved into the area, the people of Iliamna adjusted to these newcomers, sharing their lands and waters with them, rolling with the changes. Today, the people of Iliamna still live by the morals of their ancestors, sharing their blessings with others. They still work hard and know how to have fun, like this group of kids who are taking advantage of the sun and jumping off the dock.
Right here, not that far, sis. Right here.
7-year-old Cierra Nikolai seems to be taking her time, unsure about whether she wants to jump or not. At first glance, this community seems to be carefree and untroubled. But recently, there have been several issues plaguing the people of Iliamna, issues that can no longer be ignored. Because of its bountiful waters and glorious landscape, Iliamna has become a tourist trap, besieged by busloads of tourists going in and out to lodges on a regular basis during the summer. The main goal of these tourists is to have the proverbial Alaskan experience and hunt and fish the same wildlife that the natives rely upon for subsistence.
I counted at one time between Igiagig, Coconut area here, and Port Elizabeth, 45 lodges. So you times that times 25 people per day. I can remember the amount of fish taken out or done is quite a bit. And not only that, they hook them. I mean, we've had trouts that, you know, the fishermen have hooked and they got sores on them, on their bodies, on their backs, because they release them back into it. Same with the salmon.
Do a lot of sports fishing. The catch and release, I think, is the worst law they ever put in, because you can see in Newhalen River, myself, I saw salmon going up the river with more medals on it than the general have in the Army. They're just shining going up the river from being snagged and let loose. You know. So today's subsistence isn't like it used to be.
Gerald Delkettie, owner of Goose Bay Sports Fishing Lodge, says he started his lodge as a place for him to get away from Anchorage during the summer months. Even he has noticed a decline in the salmon in the area.
I've noticed it like over in the creek, Young's Creek over here, that I'm not seeing the return of salmon that used to be here like 10 years ago. I don't know whether it's climate change, whether it's high seas fishing, or where they're losing it at, but the returns aren't just like they used to be. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's high seas fishing.
There used to be a lot of fish before when I was younger, but now I'm a commercial fisherman. Last year, the worstest year I ever had, I got only 10,000 pounds for the season. So it wasn't a very good season when the pound of the fish was only 40 cents a pound. So we didn't get very much. So we just pay off our insurance for our boat, pay off our nets and our gas. I think we make a little over $300 a piece, 3 of us.
For natives like Elia, who have relied on commercial fishing for many years, the lack of fish in the lakes and rivers surrounding Iliamna is threatening their way of life. This quiet clashing of interest versus necessity has led to disgruntlement on both sides. While the natives feel the land is theirs and their practices do not harm the environment, the tourists and lodgers feel that they have a right to appreciate the bounty of the region.
Cierra, you'll be okay.
Remember Cierra? Well, she still hasn't found the courage to jump, but we'll check back in with her in a little while.
Berry muffins, different kinds of stuff.
Grafin Anelon is a native business owner in Iliamna. She employs several native youth from the community and surrounding towns. She believes strongly in the importance of teaching native youth the morals and subsistence methods of the past. When Grams was young, she used to pick berries with her mother. Like most native youth, some of her best memories are of the closeness that subsistence practices creates among family members and neighbors. She remembers the days when everyone shared the work of putting up fish and preparing food.
You don't see that now. I go down to Bristol Bay and it's such a change. People, we used to help each other. Everybody along the beach would help each other. Nobody went by. If somebody was caught with the tide and they saw them not getting their net done, we'd stop and all help them. Now, nobody knows you. Nobody helps you. It's a different society. It's way different. Even here, like when I used to split fish, people would come by and they'd see me splitting fish. They'd come out and help me, bring their knives and help me. And it was always part of that way, that's what we were brought up with.
Each week, Heartbeat Alaska brings you great stories from all over the state. And we couldn't do it without the generous support of Frontier Flying Service. Frontier gets our camera crews where they need to go. So whenever you see a Frontier plane, give them a wave.
Say hi from Nutsack.
You might just be on Heartbeat Alaska.
Frontier Flying Service, covering Alaska for over 50 years.
Recently, the people of Iliamna have been faced with a new challenge, one that will be with them for many years to come. Recently, the town experienced a fire. Burning garbage in the nearby dump spread that fire to neighboring vegetation. The fire spread out to destroy the very berry-picking grounds that Grams remembers so fondly. Spruce hen, porcupine, and other wildlife were no doubt lost. This, compounded with the lack of fish, has created a major hole in the traditional practices of the residents.
That was our best berry picking grounds, so all that burnt. I know it affected me as a person. Well, I feel like it's taken a lot. Mainly it's like you go out there and look and it's all black, and you remember the prettiness of it, and you can't see it now, but I know it'll take a couple of years to come back. But it's not nobody's fault, but I think that something has to be done for all villages to have a better system than what we have. And if it's not affecting the, like fires and stuff like that, people burn in their own yards, and then it comes to everybody's house, and it's a lot more dangerous than where we had it as far as the community itself. And I think that we have to think of, for everybody's benefit, that something has to be done that'll make it better for our community.
Well, I was working and I seen a big white mushroom-like smoke. So I said, let's go check that out. Doesn't look good, because it's towards my house. And so I thought maybe my house was on fire or something. So we came up here and the fire was just blazing this way. I mean, the wind was blowing this way, so we jumped into everybody's equipment and we started pushing dirt. There was people from Kokonak, Pedro Bay, Non-Dalton, Newhalen, and Iliamna. I know we used to call this timberline because of all the trees we had here. Now you could see all over the place. If it wasn't for wilder construction to be here too, we probably would have lost our house because we had all their equipment up here pushing our dirt.
When you look into the eyes of the residents of Iliamna, you can see fierce pride. Residents like Grams respond with constructive feedback when asked about the issues they face, but you can see that they are hurting.
Well, I think we're all alone with our issues because of the fact that people depend on us, but there's no support. As far as the support goes, is where can you get the fundings from to improve your system?
A road project has been started in the area, and some of the townspeople feel that they have not been involved in the project as much as they should be. Only 3 residents were hired to work on this project, a project that affects their lives so drastically.
Our economy here is not good, and we depend on projects to keep people, since there's no fishing, we depend on projects to at least get people enough money to buy fuel and food to last through the winter. And without projects, we're, kind of set out there, and I know that most people aren't looking for handouts. Most of the Native people have never, looked for handouts. And I know that we're perceived as looking for handouts, and we don't. We want to make it on our own, and I instill that on my kids. And without jobs, that's the only way they know to turn.
I'm in business, and I know that when projects come in, you have to, not everybody gives you the business here. You have to either bend to their amount that they want to pay, otherwise you don't get nothing. And like with us, we try to hire our local kids and local people. I think that one of the things that we should look at too is our dock project. Our dock down there is really in bad shape. And we've never had any support from the community. They use that dock all the time, and it's really been a good asset to everybody.
Well, anyway, as you can see that we're at the Iliamna dock, which has been a massive source of controversy.
The dock at Iliamna is badly in need of repairs. Both residents and people from outside the town use it. It suffers from wind and water damage and worsens from ice breaking up against it every winter.
When we get southeast winds that hurl in here, in excess of 50 to 70 miles an hour, this dock takes a massive beating, and it's not designed to withstand the type of beating, especially when there's ice built up around here. It's not designed to withstand that. So part of the problem is right now, the state of Alaska, Department of Natural Resources, is not granting us a lease on it because they're not recognizing the tribe as a non-profit status. Construction crews use it, the fueling companies use it, everybody's using it, but nobody's really wanting to pay for it.
Even in its corrosive condition, the dock is still used as a place to play for children. And no, Cierra still hasn't taken her first sleep. But sometimes patience is a virtue.
I keep it in the bottom. Whoa! I'll jump in. Crazy. Ah! Oh. You get ready.
As Cierra ponders the idea of getting wet, lunch is being prepared at Graham's Cafe. One young man has chosen to share his hope for the future with the world. Sonny Lamont lives in the neighboring village of Newhalen, but commutes every day to Graham's Cafe.
She tries to get the youth into jobs as much as she can because she told us many of times she cares about the young people, and some of them just don't understand, how much she wants us to learn. And already I've been working here for about 3.5 weeks, and I've learned more than I've learned ever about the kitchen. And I think she's a big part in every time we talk, you know, me and her, she always tells me, you know, you should go to cooking school, you know, and I'm gonna. And when I come back, I'll try to get a job right where I'm at today.
When asked about the availability of work in the village, Sonny states,
In the village, well, it's kind of hard at first. You know, when there's hardly any jobs in the village, you know that. And for young people to get jobs, you have to know what you're doing. You have to act appropriate. You gotta act like you're growing up, you know, you're like you're ready for a job. You can't just go into a place and say, can I get a job, and then goof off half the time, you know, you gotta keep it serious. And I just want to say to all those, you know, those young people out there, do whatever you want in life, you know, whatever your dream is, do it. And if you want it bad enough, you'll get it.
Sonny is a good example of a hard-working youth with dreams of someday becoming a 5-star chef. Sonny takes pride in his ability to cook and in his work ethics. Not only that, he has chosen rap as his vehicle to share messages of inspiration and hope with other youth that may be struggling in life.
It was very hard for me. With having nothing to do in the village, alcohol and drugs is the way I could find myself happiness, you know. A lot of kids out there, you know, realize that they use alcohol and drugs just to make them feel good because there's nothing else to do in the village. But that's not true. There's a lot of things to do. You go hunting, talk with the elders, fishing, hang out with friends that are good. And I think the youth would come together and work as one, and maybe we could accomplish something great for Alaska, because we are the future.
This kind of message deserves a platform to share it with the rest of the world, and Sonny plans to do just that. Sonny uses the equipment his father gave him to record his own music. He's currently making a CD to share his message of sobriety, perseverance, and hope.
Yo, when things go wrong, and it sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low.
Thank you, everyone in Iliamna. Help others. I'm Jeannie Green. God bless every single one of you, and we'll see you again next week.
You're late, Dad.
I know.
I'm almost done with my homework.
Yeah?
Tessa's mad at you.
What's mad at me about?
You said you would play basketball with her. She said she'll never speak to you again.
Parents that are involved with their kids are more likely to help keep their kids away from drugs.
Nothing but that.
It takes a great deal of strength to overcome the challenges that life presents, to adapt, and to rise above the flames.
Open your eyes.
One thing you can say about the people of Iliamna is that they definitely won't quit. In fact, Cierra refuses to leave the dock until she has finished what she came here to do. For the people of Iliamna, the work is cut out for them. It will be a long road to travel, but with the support of one another and the cooperation of all of the people who live and work here, there is nothing that these Athabascan people won't be able to accomplish. Thank you, everyone in Iliamna, for making this story possible. Thank you for inviting Heartbeat Alaska to your beautiful village. Thank you for sharing the issues and problems that your village faces. Hopefully, it can help others. I'm Jeannie Green. God bless every single one of you, and we'll see you again next week.